So it's time to talk a little PLU football. The team traveled down to Salem, Oregon to take on Willamette. The Lutes jumped all over the Bearcats early when Travis McMillian returned an interception 32 yards for a touchdown. That happened just 52 seconds into the football game, so you couldn't ask for a better start if you're the PLU defense. Cole Chandler had to have been listening to us this past weekend because the kid went off. He scored 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, and he threw one to our guy who wears number 7. That is Kellen Westring. PLU took the win 30-10. This team's rolling right now, so what's working?
Well, the Lutes figured out early on that they would be able to take advantage of Willamette's 3-4 defense, and what was working for them was running the football. When you have your 2 running backs for a combined 28 attempts and 147 yards rushing, that's pretty good offense, guys. And not to mention PLU's 3rd running back, Cole Chandler. Oh, wait, he's the quarterback. So Cole had 12 attempts for 76 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. And like you said, Christian, this team is just rolling, and it's fun to watch. And I think head coach Scott Westering, being up in the box, is really working for him. He's been able to read the opposing defense and adjust the offense accordingly. Kellen, what's it like to be out there on the field?
You know, Lacey, you hit on the head. The 3-4 defense is exactly what we took advantage of. You know, Willamette knew coming into the game, normally our first 5 plays are either trick plays or long pass plays like you saw against Pacific, as well as California Lutheran. And so we knew we could take advantage of the gaps in their defense. So our first 5 plays, guys, were up the middle. And so Willamette was just, their bells were spinning in their head like, what is going on? We were not ready for this. We schemed against all this kind of stuff, all this motion across the set, and we just hit them right in the mouth. And so I thought our attack was awesome. And for us, normally we receive the football to start the game, but we ended up deferring and kicking off, and like Christian mentioned, Travis McMillian, picking that ball up for a pick 6 was we already had a lot of energy going into the game, and that just gave us even more confidence, and so that was a great play by him. And honestly, Willamette hit extremely hard. A lot of guys were sore after the game. They were a good football team. Mm-hmm. They had beaten UPS the week before by about 30, put 60 points up on the board. So for our defense to come in and only give up 10 just shows how good they are. And again, offensively, as I sit here today, there's still so much we can work on. And so for us to only put up 30, knowing how good we really can be, knowing how high our ceiling is, it's exciting moving forward. And hopefully we'll be even better this week, heading in against a tough Whitworth Pirate football team.
No, I think we need a new segment, guys. I think we're going to call it Where Drew is Right and Where Drew is Wrong. Since I'm the guy making all the controversial claims in the building and everyone else is just really nice. I was wrong about Cole Chandler. I think he was listening when I challenged him to get his eyes up and stop being a 2020 quarterback. Anyone know what a 2020 quarterback is?
Fill me in, man. I'm a little lost.
It has nothing to do with vision, if you're curious. It is a quarterback who's really great about moving the ball between the 20s. And can't move it once you get inside either 20, you get in trouble.
Okay.
But I still think Shabby is a better field general and game manager. Pacific had a weak front 7. That's why Cole hit him up. Teams with a stronger line and a weaker secondary is probably where guys like John are going to have their day. That 3-4 defense is just asking to be run on. And it's just asking for you to run option on and asking you for run pass option on. That's what the weaknesses of a 3-4 defense are. And PLU's line looked very good. Not a lot of guys with their hand down the block, but they pass protected marginally well for what they've been doing. And pretty impressed with Cole Chandler, I'm not going to lie.
All right, it's time for our heroes of the game. So who is everybody's hero from last week?
I'm going to go with 2 guys who will probably never get their name in the paper, but Ryan Murdoch and Jackson Leach, 2 senior linebackers who normally don't really play. They play on special teams, but Isaiah Watkins, who's one of our big-time studs on defense, was out. He had an ankle injury. We'll be back for Whitworth. But those 2 guys stepped up. And it's funny because the PLU football program always has this phrase, it's the next man up. We really believe that. It's not the 11 best, it's the best 11. And they buy into Craig McCord, the defensive coordinator's system. And those guys played a heck of a game, batted down a couple passes, even forced a couple fumbles. And so it was so fun to see those guys fly around who don't normally get their chance. Again, they're not really going to be on the stat book. They're not going to get their name in the paper, but those are guys who were in the trenches that when their name was called, they were ready to answer it.
I'm going to have to go with the Lutes rushing game. I already hit on it a little bit, but for this week, I got to shout out Mark Gallant. he had 14 attempts for 80 total yards, averaging 5.7 yards per carry. And the whole rushing part of PLU offense is kind of cool because you have Darren Hardgrove and Mark Gallant both equally as talented. To me, Kellen, they're not that different in size and strength. I mean, you might
right,
see
because Darren lost about 15 pounds this summer.
Yeah, he cut the pizza out. But anyways, yeah, it's really fun to see them both go in there and take advantage of the attempts they're getting. So shout out to them.
I want to talk a little bit about a very special player who has a very special stat line. I want to talk about Ben Welch. Ben Welch is my hero of the game. Not for his stat line, but for the fact that he is the ultimate role guy. He's the ultimate role player. He is a senior who has started every single game since his freshman year and is yet to see the end zone. I think that is the most special stat on this entire team. He is one of the favorite targets. He sees a lot of primary options on routes, or even the second option on the backside of our friend Kellen here in the studio, and he catches a lot of passes. He gets a lot of looks, and he's yet to be in the zone. I think it is very important, and yes, Coach Scott Westering, I am talking to you. I think it's very important that we get him in the end zone before he graduates. That is very important. You do not let a kid start for 4 years and never see the end zone. He's a great role player. You'll never hear him say it, but I'm sure he'll love to be in the zone at least one time.
Off the top of anyone's head in here, has he thrown a touchdown?
He has.
He has.
There it is. There's one. Gotcha, Drew.
So that's one
I'm
thing.
playing.
No. He has not scored.
And that's one thing that he has on his father, Steve Welch, who's being inducted in the Hall of Fame this Friday. Is Steve Welch may have caught a couple touchdowns, but he never threw one. So that's what Ben has on his father.
That's right. So for my hero, I'm going to take the entire defensive unit. Normally I like to keep it to one player, but reading up on this PLU defense, who has been outstanding all year long, I had to take him as a group. Kellen mentioned it earlier. Willamette had scored about 63 or 68 points on UPS the week before. PLU shuts them down to 10. The PLU defense is allowing the second fewest yards per game in the conference at a little over 200 or 323 yards per game. Okay. The PLU defense is leading the conference in points allowed, giving up just 12.3 points per game. Not a lot. The next closest team is Linfield. Linfield is giving up 24.3 points per game. The next closest team to the PLU defense is giving up twice as many points as PLU.
That's an unbelievable stat. Now, granted, Linfield has played Mary Hardin-Baylor, who is a top 5 team in the nation, but you hit it on the head there, Christian. And even last year, we were 2-7, and our defense was third in points allowed. So it just shows. And it's hard to say as an offensive player, but offensively we haven't been getting it done over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And so if we get it done offensively, I will say it right here and right now, we will make the playoffs. I full-heartedly believe that. If we get it done offensively, it's on us. It really is. Our defense is so good, and they played so well. It is on us as an offense to put points up on the board. If we do that, we'll be playing past November.